I would like predict that in within 3 years we would have so many new innovations coming into society that will disrupt so many things of how we do our normal life, more or less.
Mhm.
So my suggestions would be definitely for anyone that's in a C level or in a boardroom or in a higher position in a company, start reading upon what's going on. That is probably the main thing I would suggest for everyone to do. And I would say look at industries and market that is not in your area,
Yeah.
because the only thing that we can see that we slowly are mapping out is that something that is happening in a market, in an industry that you would not anticipate would affect you.
Welcome to the Visionary Board podcast. This show is for board members, aspiring board members, and senior executives preparing for their role in the boardroom. Each episode, we go beyond theory and buzzwords to explore how high-performing boards actually operate and what it takes to be a board member. Through talks with experienced board members and experts, you'll gain practical insights you can start applying in the boardroom today. I'm your host, Mark de Jong. Welcome to the Visionary Board podcast. In this episode, we are going to discuss how to adapt to the global megatrend behind AI. What does that mean for your organization? And what does it mean for the boardroom? And for this episode, my guest is Niklas Madsen, futurist and CEO of Superlab. He works at the intersection of AI and innovation, helping organizations prepare for what he calls Society 5.0. So, Niklas, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
So, before we dive into the main topic, can you tell us a little bit about your background and your journey up to here?
Yeah, so like you said, my name is Niklas Madsen, and I run a studio called Superlab here in Helsingborg, south of Sweden. And we've been around for 22 years. Started off as a small design studio, and slowly grew up and more or less became mature. And we had a lot more employees, of course, but around 15 years ago, we had one client that we were sitting and talking to, and they asked us some very tough questions at that point.
Mhm.
And we were the experts, the consultants, and we didn't have good answers. So when we came back to the office, we felt that we felt stupid, actually. So we decided to more or less we needed to read upon, what's going on in society, research, and so on. So it ended up that we gave all of our employees 1 hour per day to read anything that would be interesting for them. And the catch was that every Monday meeting, we would pitch for each other of
Mhm.
interesting stuff that we had been reading about.
Yeah.
It could be a TikTok phenomenon. It could be a research study about the future cities or sweat, or it could be whatever.
Mhm.
But all the interesting stuff, we would collect links and paragraphs or documents or whatever it could be. It could be a picture, and we would collect all of that in a Google Docs document.
Yeah.
And this Google Docs document just grew to this gigantic monster, of course, because we've been doing this for 15 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say around 8, 9 years ago, we started realizing that maybe we could capitalize on all our knowledge now,
Uh-huh.
instead of being, just helping ourselves to be as good as possible towards our clients. Maybe we could do something else with this knowledge. So that is the background how we started looking upon future mega trends, what's going on in society, and especially now, since the pandemic up until now, the world has evolved dramatically and become very disruptive in ways.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's today we do a lot of strategic work and help a lot of large corporations globally to look into the future, to adapt their product, services, and whatnot to be ready for what's coming.
And I understood that you actually give a lot of lectures about this, right?
Correct. Yeah. So last year I gave around 82 lectures. And my peak year, I was up against almost 140, 50 lectures.
Hmm.
So around 2015, we decided to write our first book called The Playful Office,
Uh-huh.
because at that time we got a lot of requests of helping uh, companies to create a creative boardroom.
Hmm.
And when we got this question, we realized that why do you want to create a creative boardroom? Why don't you want the whole organization to be creative?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you want to create, to box in creativity?
Exactly.
So we realized like maybe this is a hot topic to start maybe collect into a book, and that's why the book came about, Playful Office. That it's about how you create innovative organizations and how you can add playfulness in a certain way and in a good way,
Yeah.
that it can be useful for all your employees. And around that time, when we released that book,
Hmm.
that's where all the bookings for lectures started coming, and since then I've been doing a lot of lectures globally,
Yeah.
of course.
And after that, also another book, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the process of writing that book was not easy, because out of the six people who were at the office, four of us, including me, has dyslexia. So it was not an easy process of creating the book. And around 2018, 19, we had forgot how tough the process
Uh-huh.
were, and then we decided to write a new book because we realized that a big shift was happening, and that's why we created the second book, Disruptive Future.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the book we're still out giving a lot of lectures around. And I should say also and mention that we started writing that book around 2019,
Hmm.
and around 20 mid 2020, when pandemic hit, we had to stop writing everything, and we just sat more or less on the sideline to watch what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And after 4 or 5 months, we decided to rewrite 50% of all the stuff we already had
Hmm.
created, because the world shifted, everything changed so
Yeah.
much. And then it got released in June 2022.
Got it. Got it.
Mm.
Okay, cool. So let's dive into the main topic: how to adapt to the global megatrend behind AI. And I'd like to peel it off a little bit because there's like a lot of focus now in the world on AI and leveraging AI. And but there's something behind it, right? But before we do that, just very practical, because I understand this is your daily practice. That what is it in your experience that you see that companies struggle with and boards in dealing with AI?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I would say that AI is the big hype
Hmm.
right now.
Yeah.
And I would say that, um, let me put it like this: because of it is such a rapid speed in its development,
Hmm.
a lot of companies are struggling with a lot of things, but especially that they have an IT tech department that is there to secure their IP rights, their technical internet, everything rights. So the secureness of the company is in good hands.
Yeah.
And then you have small startups and bigger, of course, that are developing AI tools online, and there's a struggle of what tool to use, and the development in one tool goes much quicker in another one. So there's a internal struggle there.
Yeah.
Then there's a struggle where you have employees getting their own account for Gemini or ChatGPT or whatnot, using it in their work,
Yeah.
but they're paying for it privately because of the struggle with the
Uh-huh.
IT department. And then on top of that, there's the evolution that is going so quickly, rapidly, and the possibilities of adding on AI into your core business.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of corporations have not laid out a strategy for how to use AI in their business.
Yeah.
And so there's I would say there's a bunch of different complexities of why it is a big struggle right now for a company or a boardroom to decide what to do, more or less.
Yeah. Basically, what you're saying is there's no plan. It's just like jump on it, see what you can do with it, go, go, go.
Yeah.
But what is the plan? What is the strategy?
Yeah, and also the big problem is that I see with a lot of companies that we have come across that we're helping, more or less, is that it also can become like end of the year gym and fitness center card that you more or less you go and get a card for a fitness center in January, and then it just lays there and you pay for it, but you never go to the fitness center.
Yeah.
It slowly can become that too, where you don't have a plan for how to use AI and you just pay for it because that is the mandatory thing to do right now, but you don't use it in the right way. So there's like a missing a plan, a strategy, something how to use it and when to use it and who's going to use it and when and everything. So yeah, there's a big gap
Yeah.
of connectivity when it comes to AI and businesses right now, I think.
Got it. And if we zoom a little bit in on the fact that there is no plan and everybody's just jumping on it, what are the consequences of that? What is the negative impact?
Yeah, so the negative impact, of course, is that if you have a competitor that has more or less sat down and said, "Okay, let's put out a strategy for how we're going to use AI the upcoming year,"
Hmm.
and they have rolled that out in their business, and all of their employees are more or less getting classes, courses of how to use AI,
Hmm.
and they have that full rollout planned.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're sitting and you have two companies and one company is running with AI and the second company is not even started yet,
Yeah.
most likely today you're going to be run over.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to be something in the past very, very quickly because the speed is so rapidly going on right now.
Exactly. And even though you are sort of like jumping on it, and you think that you're on it, you think that you're leveraging it,
Yeah,
but you don't have a plan. You haven't really thought it through.
yeah,
Make the difference. Yeah.
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 I heard something, and don't quote me on this fully because I don't have any reference to back this up. But I heard somebody tell me in a lecture that I gave a couple of months ago that
Hmm.
for 1 month of a company using AI, a competitor not using AI, it's equal to 1 year of development within a company or loss within a
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
So the speed that is going on right now when it comes to companies that have actually adapted AI and that are using it fully on as a tool, as we're using a computer or calculator, whatever it could be. The advantage you get of using AI is tremendous right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think now it's a good time to sort of like zoom out a little bit because that's, I think, a lot of companies and also boards that they're just so too much focused on the technology,
Yeah,
but they don't ask the question like, where does it come from? It's part of a bigger thing.
yeah.
It's part of a mega trend. And yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on that, how you see that. What is that mega trend?
Yeah, so what is going on right now? Like AI is just one thing.
Yeah.
AI is just I would say today that AI might be, when we look back in a couple of years, it might be the like the fifth or sixth industrial revolution that we have going on. But we're in the middle of it right now,
Yeah.
so we don't really see it. It's blooming as we speak, more or less.
Yeah.
But AI is just one thing that is developing rapidly. But as we are right now, we're in a state of something called hyperchange.
Hmm.
And hyperchange means that more or less that every market and industry has something disruptive happening in the same time.
Uh-huh.
Where before we would have one innovation coming in on the market, when the steam machine would come into the market.
Yeah.
That would be like the first industrial revolution, more or less,
Hmm.
in the late 1700. Um, the steam machine would change one market, one segment, and then slowly roll out to other areas. But right now we can see that there's evolution and innovation happening in medical, in the transportation, in payment, in computers, in all segments, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and that's why we're in the state of hyperchange that a lot of Foresight people are talking about right now. That we need to be aware of what's going on everywhere, because it will change like how we think about things, how we act, how we buy things,
Hmm.
and it will change how we see our future in different things also.
Yeah.
So companies that are not aware of the rapid change of a lot of things and a lot of different markets, they are definitely going to be something in the past very, very quickly. So AI is one big engine, and it's
Uh-huh.
like a big catalyst for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But there's so many other things happening in the same time underneath that are most as important as AI to be aware of.
Yeah. And so before we had like the information revolution, right? So now we're in this new trend, in this new stage. How does it relate to what you call the society 5.0?
Hmm. Yeah, so Society 5.0 is something where more or less where tech and humans
Uh-huh.
get so much more interacted between each other. And
Yeah.
this is the area that I think is very, very interesting right now, because if you have followed along a little bit about what's going on with robots in
Yeah.
general,
Yeah.
we have had robots in around us in society and in these industries for many, many years.
Yeah.
But robots has become something that is integrated so much more with us. And of course, I'm talking to about the humanoid robots that are human-like.
Yeah.
The humanoid robots are in the states of where they're more or less becoming commercialized right now. You see that Tesla has their Optimus robot, and there's a ton of other brands that are putting in a lot of money into creating these humanoid robots that are in many people's eyes, there to take our jobs and replace us in money sense. But I see it as something that is, we're I should mention this, that
Hmm.
in my lectures I talk a lot about how fiction are slowly becoming reality also.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I loved Star Wars,
Yeah.
and they would have these robots around them and so on. And slowly we're getting there. We're slowly having these. I mean, we a lot of people have like a small robotic vacuum cleaner in their house. They have the lawnmower already. That's a robot that's doing the cutting the grass, and slowly we're getting to the point where we're gonna have these humanoid robots taking laundry, going out with the trash, doing stuff at the house.
Yeah.
And so we're going from something that has been very fiction to something that is fiction reality right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Society 5.0 is the next step. It is the leverage where a lot of tech are coming into our lives, more or less,
Yeah. And I think also like we're going to this situation where they will be autonomous, right?
Yeah,
I mean, in my company, we also use Claude, and they have these new features where they already act autonomously, right? So
yeah,
that's it's going to be we're moving into a sounds like we're moving into a hybrid society where
absolutely.
we will be working together with AI powered robotics robots that do work.
Yeah, we're moving in towards something that is more of a computeristic higher intelligence.
Yeah.
I mean, AI is just a word, but I would say that right now we're getting to the real AI, where you have a LLM that actually can think for you and become an agentic AI. That is in a different level that can actually do smaller tasks, and it will slowly, as we're getting into, as I mentioned before, the physical AI, where you have like technical robotics that will have the intelligence of the software, more or less. So there's one robot called Figure 3, I think it's called right
Mm.
now. They have 2 and 3, but the 3 one, and it's directly connected to OpenAI, to ChatGPT.
Hmm.
So as ChatGPT develops, this robotic also gets a broader cognitive understanding of our world.
Yeah.
And you also have the news of the Pokemon Go game, that the game more or less have collected all the kids and people that have been out playing the game in society. They've collected video and pictures from people playing that game, and I think it's like something like 30 billion pictures they have, videos they've collected, to get a bigger and better understanding of how society actually looks like, because GPS will not do the fully job for a robot that's going to move around in society. You need to have more detailed structures of things. So we're moving into, as you said, a more connected society where technology and robotics is going to be among us for sure.
Yeah, and I also think like if you look, for example, in Asia, like China and Japan, and you look at the demographics, there's a lot of people getting older and not so much young people, like in China because of the one-child policy.
Mm.
So it is also sort of inevitable that we need these hybrid robots to sort of jump in and keep up the productivity, right?
That too. Yeah, and also there's a lot of heavy factory work that a lot of people, humans, do not want to do
Yeah,
that type of work anymore.
yeah,
So, and of course, there's a lot of these humanoid robots that are being tested in car factories, and all kinds of other, packaging, where you do monotone type of work for many hours. So a lot of people are also afraid of this because they see, oh, they're taking our jobs. But in reality, there's not that many people that are prepared to do that type of work
yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
And so there's a shift where I think we're getting into a whole new type of society in the coming years, where a lot of things, you know, for you and me, they were fiction not too long ago,
Yep.
and are slowly becoming our reality right now.
Yeah. So given that perspective, that society is changing into society 5.0, we're going to this hybrid society.
Hmm.
How do you feel like organizations and boardrooms need to anticipate on this? Because now, like we already discussed, they're focusing too much on the technology. What would you advise them on how to approach it?
Okay, so first of all, definitely follow along what's going on,
Hmm.
because there's so many things. Because when you look out through the windows of your office,
Yeah.
everything looks normal, and it did that also during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Everything looked normal. But under the surface, there's so many things going on, and why we're in the state of hyperchange, of things moving rapidly. Before, we would have one innovation that could change a lot. I mean, when the cell phone came into society, it started off as a big, thick thing with a huge battery as a briefcase you had to
Yeah.
walk around, and it was just a phone. But now everyone more or less has this computer in their hand that can do so many more things. So one innovation came into the market and changed everything.
Yeah.
I would like predict that in within 3 years we would have so many new innovations coming into society that will disrupt so many things of how we do our normal life, more or less.
Hmm.
So my suggestions would be definitely for anyone that's in a C level or in a boardroom or in a higher position in a company, start reading upon what's going on. There's so many futurists out there that are talking about, trends, innovation, companies being sold and bought up, and why is that happening? Follow a lot of go in and search for futurists or
Yeah.
trends or whatever it could be on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and so on, and start following people just to keep updated, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That is probably the main thing I would suggest for everyone to do. And I would say look at industries and market that is not in your area,
Yeah.
because the only thing that we can see that we slowly are mapping out is that something that is happening in a market, in an industry that you would not anticipate would affect you,
Hmm.
it will to 80-90% affect you in the future somehow without you knowing or seeing it right now.
Yeah.
So by just reading upon what's going on in the medical industry or in the food industry or something, that could affect something when it comes to transportation of goods in a couple of years.
Yeah, that I think that's a very, very good takeaway because I think in the past people would just simply, not my industry, dismiss it.
And yeah, we're still there. I mean, a lot of companies that I would say, 90% of the companies that we talk to and help today, they
Hmm.
are still very, "Oh, but this is our market. This is our market and
Yeah,
industry. This is what we're looking at."
yeah,
And what we're trying to help them then is to, back up a little bit and get a broader perspective of, but what happens over here when you have a whole change in buying behavior?
uh-huh,
That means then in a couple of years when that person will become a CEO and are suddenly in the decision to buy stuff in your market and your industry, you
yeah,
know, that will become a domino effect.
yeah,
So
exactly.
the bigger perspective of things is something that I would suggest anyone today, it doesn't matter what position you have, more or less,
Yeah,
get a broader perspective of what's going on in society in general today to become much better in your market.
yeah, because basically you're saying it's all interconnected. It always was, but now what happens across the fence will definitely influence you in a much faster and rapid way, and you need to have this holistic view.
Absolutely. And I think that if things could take years before, we're talking months and maybe weeks sometimes today.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And if we there are some statistics more or less they're saying that a company strategy for something, for sales or whatever it could be, that usually was a 5-year strategy or 10 in some cases, but the 5-year strategy is updated within 5 months today.
yeah, yeah,
So and that is within your market, that is within your industry.
yeah,
So if you're not prepared to what might come from the sideline, or from, as you metaphorically say, on the other side of the fence, I think it is there's a bigger chance to be disrupted by a non-competitor today than
yeah,
it is from a competitor, actually.
yeah. And so what's interesting, so because you say, okay, companies need to organize themselves like at sea level to do continuous research. I'd like to get back to that a little bit later on how you could do that practically and maybe more embedded also in other regions of the organization. But let's make the if we look at the board, like a board, typically they meet every quarter. So they have this 3 month, this quarterly cycle, right?
Hmm.
But if this velocity is so high, what are your thoughts on how boards need to deal with this global megatrend? And
Yeah, and as I just said before, if the 5-year strategy is changed within 5 months,
Yeah.
maybe the quarterly meetings need to be more
More
frequent,
frequently. Yeah.
and maybe you need to create if you can't have more frequent meetings, maybe you need to set up somehow of having a group chat on Slack or WhatsApp or whatever it could be, to keep updated. But I also think that um, to give everyone a homework
Uh-huh.
to actually look at a different industry or start to monetize what's going on. The I think that the stereotypical boardroom individual is also changing. I can see that it needs to change.
Uh-huh.
Your work of sitting in a board, maybe you need to add more to the table actually to keep updated what's going on. So it's not one thing to for the company to monetize what's going on. Maybe it's for the individual also to keep updated what's going on, to be able to come with deeper intelligence, or create something smarter out of the strategy for a company or something. So I definitely see that it's slowly changing there also, and it needs to change to for boards to be smart enough and be intelligent and come with good advice, more or less.
No, I totally agree. Because if that velocity increases, man, you have to act as a board, and like the board is there to provide value and guidance. But if you're not up to date and up to speed, then you have no value to the company. That's
Exactly.
yeah.
And that is a very interesting point that you're bringing out regarding value,
Mhm.
because I think today a, a boardroom that is, board members that are being closed in a boardroom, sitting working more or less, the definition of value that's being put in towards a meeting is something that we see is being discussed with a lot of companies that we are helping out and talking to, because the level of value that is expected, we can see that is going to be increasing as people are getting more and more aware of the evolution of AI.
Uh-huh.
When they see that, when that goes very quick and they see other things moving along, the value that's being put in as advidance, as what do you call it?
And
Ev-
in the guidance.
guidance.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, that needs to increase also during a board meeting for sure.
So yeah, basically you're saying because with AI, companies themselves they can do so much research by the press of a button that the boards and board members need to step up their game.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And also we have one client that we have discussed about, what if you set up an AI agent as an extra board member,
yeah,
and an AI agent that you would fill all the company documents, research,
yeah,
graphical profiles, sales statistics, everything, and you had this extra board member with a deeper intelligence that you actually could advise
yeah,
during a meeting.
yeah,
That is something that I can see, and I already see it now being discussed in a larger corporations, that might be something that a lot of companies will look into in the future.
yeah. Having an AI board member.
Having an AI board member for sure. There's already a tech company that I know of that have put an AI agent as their CEO
Yeah, yeah,
that is running the company.
yeah,
So there's a lot of tests going on right now, but definitely having the AI board member is something that I could see coming in a very short future.
yeah, yeah. I think, of course, with board members, they have an accountability that would be a little bit hard with an AI board member, but at least it would be like a board advisor, right?
Exactly. Absolutely.
At least at the
Absolutely.
minimum. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Which that's very interesting. That's very interesting. Um, if we look at like, so I mean, it's clearly that one of your top advices is have an outward view, look at society, what's happening. And you just already mentioned that somebody at sea level should definitely always be on the lookout outside. But how would you also bring it down to other levels of the organization? How would you organize it? How do you have some thoughts on that? Because I love the way you did it, like with at Superlab, right? You had this very creative way of doing it. Everybody pitching an idea every Monday morning. But yeah, maybe you have some other thoughts on that, on how.
Yeah, I mean, just to mention a little bit of, about the effect, what's going on when you do that.
Yeah,
It is that you get the full potential out of your employees and your staff,
yeah,
because you never know what interest or what inspires your team members in a
yeah,
team, in a project, whatever. So if you want to get the maximum out of their inspiration, what triggers them to do their job, that is to kind of let them go fully within one area.
yeah.
And because we've been doing a lot of office design for many years, and we had a lot of strategists here in the company also, to change a work culture, the easiest way is to get everyone on board why you're doing the change.
Yeah.
And to get the full potential out of people, that is to let them go somehow and become like one out of us free spirit.
Hmm.
And so definitely, that was our take on it, to let everyone go and to kind of, trend scout, if you could call it,
Yeah, yeah,
for us. It's like having a very interesting Instagram feed every Monday meeting. That is a very, very good, effective way out of, of course, as I said, we have been doing it for 15 years. It it is such an interesting way to start your Monday. That kicks off everything, and then it leads up a lot of discussion
hmm,
during lunch breaks or whatever, and it feeds a lot of ideas. So it's like injecting also the work culture in a certain way by doing that.
yeah,
But definitely by letting everyone in a company having somewhat of a level within this,
yeah,
it can generate so many ideas. It can generate so many thoughts and bring so much more to a company by letting them do this in a controlled manner, of course.
yeah,
So if it's just sea level, absolutely not. I would suggest to, whoever, because somebody on a factory floor might have the most brightest idea.
exactly,
And
exactly.
that is like from statistics, that has been the actual case in many situations, that the brightest idea is not within a in an enclosed boardroom where you have some Legos on the table and calling it a creative boardroom. The greatest ideas will never come from there.
Yeah, and yeah, I totally agree. It needs to be in the DNA of the entire company, so of every employee.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's a very, very contagious and a good way to start off very, very small, to create a shift within the DNA in the whole work culture, to more or less open up somehow, let people come with ideas, to bring something to the table is the easiest way to create a more innovative work
yeah,
culture.
yeah, yeah. Another thing that I found very interesting that we talked about while preparing this call is that you said there's a relationship with AI and remote working, and you have strong views on that. So yeah, please elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, so a lot of companies right now, and for the past year, I would say there's been we have been contacted from by a lot of H&R and workplace consultant to, how do you lure back your employees into the office?
Hmm.
A lot of companies want people to be in the office. They have invested a lot of money in their office, It's a lot of expensive square meters.
Yep.
It's expensive for those companies that have bought office furniture for their employees to have a remote office in their home, and they're gonna have a dedicated office space at their office, more or less. So the what's happening, what we see, what's going on right now is that a lot of companies are more or less deeply focused on this. How do we get people to come into the office?
Hmm.
Where employees, because they have also paid their own cloud account for their personal use,
Yeah.
but they're using it also for business, as they're doing their work,
Yeah.
creating tasks, whatever it is, they can see that they can leverage their capacity of work. So what's happening right now is that there are employees applying for jobs, coming to an interview saying, "Hey, I have created so and so many AI agents around me,
Hmm.
so I can do 2 to 3 people's amount of work within one person." And I was a moderator for a work tech conference in Copenhagen this past fall,
Uh-huh.
and there was one company explaining that they actually have hired an employee that had, I don't remember how many AI agents, but 10 to 12 AI agents around them that they have created that could do and help them to do their work much faster. So the person had asked for double salary also.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And they had employed this person as a test for 6 months to see, is it possible to employ these super employees, as they're more or less mentioned right now in social media, to do work
Yeah.
twice as much or 3 times as much workload within 8 hours a day, more or less. So I can see a shift that's going on, that the amount of work being done
Yeah.
and the deep importance of getting people to come into the office, that there's a collidence going on right there.
Hmm.
Are we actually, do we really need people to come into the office? I'm the first person to say absolutely. To have 100% staff that are only remote, I do not suggest that, but have a good balance of what is it that we actually are doing and when do we need to see each other.
Yeah.
Not just to force people to come into the office, create the office to become a magnet for people wanting to be there. Or actually, you know, am I allowed to use my Claude agents that I've built? Uh, you know, then I might want to come into the office and show it to everyone else.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
there is something happening with, physical work environment and work culture, developing as we speak right now, where a lot of people have their own development within AI, what's going on, and what the shift of what's going on right there.
Yeah.
That is something that we can see definitely is happening right now as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean that's if you think about it, that's a major shift when it comes to recruiting people and how people hire, how companies hire people. That's amazing, right? That.
a, a lot of recruitment companies, recruiters that are sitting out there looking for specific, personas or individuals with specific skills, they are struggling big time because
Yeah.
they have realized that, for the first, the people that are applying for jobs, they're creating their resume with an AI,
Yeah.
and the recruitment company has AI going through all the resumes. So we have something like an AI to AI discussion happening right now to filter out who is good for what.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the whole creating a resume has shifted.
Yeah.
Really, how should you create your resume to become interesting enough to go through another AI filter?
Yeah.
So that process in itself is going through a disruptive situation as we speak, and then getting super employees into a company that has learn how to handle AI in a specific way. I can definitely see that you know job applications will slowly change in this fall for sure.
Yeah.
We will see different new types of text being written, different types of skill sets that are being looked for, different types of job titles will slowly come within this coming 6 months to a year for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Super interesting.
Mm.
So, in wrapping up the main topic, like, just one remaining question: what would be the first thing that board should put on the agenda with respect to the global megatrend and and AI?
Okay, so yeah, definitely create a global year strategy
Yeah.
of how you want to attack technology, software, AI,
Yeah.
physical AI, and that would be my first thing that I would suggest.
Yeah.
Create a 1 year strategy and cut it up in month or quarters, depending on what industry you're in and how rapidly you see things are changing around you. And then, employ a futurist.
Yeah.
Get a hold of a consultant that can help you kick off if you don't have one internally already. And if you have one internally already, force them to start looking outside of your industry and market.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get the broader perspective. That would definitely be my suggestion for any board today
Yeah.
to update their value that they're adding for what company they're working for sure.
Very clear. Very clear. Just get the broader perspective, make a strategy, and yeah, bring in this and definitely this cultural, this mindset shift, looking outward and having everyone participate within the organization.
Yeah, and prepare your organization to that things are look like they're moving along as they always have been, but things will change for sure for all of us.
Yeah.
That is probably the only thing I can say.
In in my last question is thinking about future board members. So this could be existing board members, but also aspiring board members. What is one advice that you would give them if you could give them one advice?
So what I've seen, the best effect of a board
Mhm.
that I've come across over the years is the board member that is not expected to be sitting there. That one person that creates friction,
Uh-huh.
not too much friction, but creates friction enough that it makes everyone else to lift their heads and
Uh,
look further ahead.
yeah.
And to add on that person, it needs to be the right person. It can't just be anyone that creates friction, of course, but finding that person that can lift stones and change perspective of things, that is probably the best boards that I've come across over the years that I've been involved in or that I've consulted and so on, advised or whatever it could be. Those are the boards that I can see that have done the best
Yeah.
decisions and whatnot for whatever they're standing in front of, what challenges, whatever it could be.
So basically it comes down to think different, bring in
Absolutely.
radical new perspectives, and don't be afraid to put them out forward, even if that causes a little friction.
Yeah, friction can be very good sometimes,
Yeah,
not too
absolutely.
much, but a
Uh-huh.
lot of some friction can be can create some things that can move things forward for
Yeah.
sure.
Super, super. Well, great. Thank you for sharing your experience and insights. It was a real pleasure. How can people best follow you and reach out to you if they want?
Oh, if they want to follow us for sure, our website superlab.se,
Yeah.
or we also have a podcast Superlab podcast that you can find on all the mediums out there, from Spotify to Apple, whatever. And yeah, you can listen to our books. They are out on our podcast, and slowly, we're gonna all our Monday meetings. We're gonna release them also as podcasts, so you can listen to what we are looking into, what we're discussing, and so on. Or also just follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram.
Great. I will put all those links in the show notes so people can just click on them. Well, once again, Niklas, it was great having you. A lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff to think about for people on boards and in organizations. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for
All
having
right.
me.
All
Thanks.
right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Do you want to up your game as a board member? Then go to the website thevisionaryboard.com and check out the training program. If you refer to this podcast, you get a 10% discount. So sign up now. See you on the next episode.